Imagine waking up one day and realizing that the people you've loved most never really loved you. They loved something inside you, something you couldn't see, couldn't name, but somehow carried with every word, every glance, every silence. Carl Jung believed that love isn't a spontaneous spark or some cosmic accident. It's not your looks, your voice, or even your personality that draws people in. It's something far more mysterious and far more dangerous. People fall in love because of unconscious forces, buried desires, unhealed wounds, forgotten dreams. When someone enters your life and triggers those hidden places, the pull feels magnetic, inevitable. But here's the paradox. They don't fall in love with you for who you are. They fall in love with what you awaken in them. You become the mirror, the muse, the missing piece of a puzzle they didn't know was incomplete until you appeared. Have you ever looked into someone's eyes and felt like you've known them forever, even if you just met? That eerie familiarity isn't fate, it's projection. Jung taught that we don't see people as they are, we see them as we are, or rather, as we lack. The mind, in its quiet desperation for wholeness, casts its own shadows onto others. We project our hidden traits, our suppressed desires, and our forgotten strengths onto people who seem to carry them effortlessly. That's why someone can walk into your life and feel like home. They reflect a part of you you've lost touch with, your boldness, your tenderness, your fire. And so, you chase them, not realizing you're chasing yourself. But here's the danger. If they shatter the illusion, if they stop reflecting your projected ideal, the love you thought was eternal collapses like a dream interrupted mid-sentence. You ever wonder why someone clings to you with such intensity, even though you didn't do anything extraordinary? It's because to them, you are extraordinary, not for who you are, but for what you represent. Jung believed that attraction often begins with unconscious admiration. When someone sees in you a trait they secretly long for, confidence, freedom, purpose, you become a living embodiment of their unlived potential. To them, you are not just a person. You are the fire they never dared to light, the voice they've silenced, the courage they've buried beneath fear and conformity. And so, they fall, hard. But here's the hidden danger. When love begins with need, it quickly mutates into dependence. And when you inevitably fail to fill the void, because no one can, the pedestal crumbles and the love turns to confusion or resentment. Somewhere deep inside you lives a silhouette, a soft echo of the opposite sex. Jung called it the anima in men and the animus in women. These aren't just ideas, they're psychic blueprints, formed through childhood impressions, cultural patterns, and buried longings. They shape what kind of person you crave, even if you don't understand why. That intense pull you feel? It's not just chemistry, it's your inner archetype recognizing itself in another. When a man meets a woman who resembles his anima, nurturing, mysterious, emotionally rich, it triggers something ancient in him. She becomes more than a person, she becomes a symbol. The same happens when a woman meets her animus, a man who seems powerful, thoughtful, or rebellious in just the right way. But here's the twist. They're not falling in love with you. They're falling in love with the version of themselves they've hidden away. There are moments when someone looks at you, and their eyes say more than words ever could. Not because they see you clearly, but because you've awakened something they've carried in silence for years. Jung believed that the second reason people fall in love is because you mirror an idealized inner image, a figure shaped by dreams, childhood impressions, or forgotten longing. To them, you're not just attractive, you're familiar, as if you stepped out of a story they wrote long ago but never finished. This inner image can be powerful, intoxicating. It's as if you unlock a secret door in their psyche, and through it pours all their hopes, fantasies, and unspoken needs. But the illusion is fragile, because it's not you they're truly seeing, It's a ghost wearing your face. And when reality inevitably seeps through, the dream begins to unravel. At first, it feels magical, as if you've become the center of their universe. But over time, something shifts. The warmth turns cold. The certainty becomes confusion. This is the danger of idealization. When someone falls for the image, not the individual, the love is built on air. And when reality collides with fantasy, the fall is brutal. Jung warned that projection eventually demands its payment. What begins as enchantment often ends in disappointment, because no one can live up to the myth someone has placed upon them. The very traits they once adored, your mystery, your independence, your passion, suddenly become threats. You've changed, they'll say, but you haven't. The illusion simply faded. Love born of fantasy is a ticking clock. When the projection dies, the relationship either evolves into something real or collapses under the weight of unmet expectations. But what if the collapse isn't a tragedy, but a turning point? Jung believed that love, even when painful, even when short-lived, is never meaningless. Because every person you fall for is a mirror. They reflect the parts of yourself you haven't faced, your buried pain, your dormant creativity, your hidden strength. Love isn't just about connection, it's about confrontation with yourself. When someone enters your life and stirs your soul, they awaken more than desire. They awaken growth. You begin to see your patterns, your fears, your deepest needs, not because they expose them, but because you do, in response to them. That's the hidden beauty of love. It doesn't just reveal who they are, it reveals who you are. And sometimes the heartbreak is necessary because it forces you to reclaim the parts of yourself you once gave away just to feel seen. Not every love is meant to last. Some are meant to shake you, to tear through the illusions you've built and leave you raw, exposed, and more alive than ever before. Jung called these encounters synchronistic, not coincidences, but meaningful collisions of fate and psyche. They arrive at the precise moment you need them, not to comfort you, but to transform you. These people don't just touch your heart, they disrupt your entire sense of self. They trigger wounds you thought were healed, desires you thought were dead, truths you weren't ready to face, and it hurts. But underneath the chaos lies a deeper purpose, evolution. They are catalysts, not companions. They were never meant to stay. They were meant to burn something old to the ground, so something truer could rise from the ashes. Look closely at the ones you've loved most, and you'll see a pattern. They weren't random. They each carried something you were missing, something you were meant to awaken. Jung believed that we fall in love with the exact qualities we need to integrate, not because they complete us, but because they confront us with the parts of ourselves we've rejected or forgotten. You're drawn to the bold because you've silenced your voice. You ache for the nurturing because you've neglected your own heart. Love, in this sense, is not about finding the one. It's about discovering yourself through the other. Every attraction is a signal, a map pointing to the next step in your evolution. And when you ignore that call, love becomes suffering. But when you listen, really listen, every heartbreak becomes a teacher, and every connection becomes sacred. Here's the truth most never see until it's too late. Love isn't found in the other. It's found in your ability to see through the projection and love them anyway. Jung believed that only through awareness does love become real. When you strip away the illusion, when you no longer need someone to complete you, when you stop chasing your own reflection in others, what's left is truth. You stop asking, "Do they love me?" and start asking, "Am I loving with clarity or with need?" That's the shift. That's where fantasy ends and depth begins. Real love isn't about obsession or perfection or escape. It's about presence, groundedness, seeing a person as they are, not as your soul once imagined them to be. Because the deepest love isn't about possession, it's about recognition of another and of yourself, finally whole.